Alright, boys and girls, this time we're going to pick up our fraction lessons with adding and subtracting. When we're adding and subtracting fractions, this can be very simple if we keep up with our rules up front and know what we're supposed to do and do everything in the proper order. Fractions can be one of the easiest things that we do in math, or in all honesty, can be one of the most difficult. Depends on how you look at it and what kind of attitude you go into it with. But adding and subtracting can be very, very easy. The first thing I need to know is that I cannot add fractions unless I have the same denominator. So let's start off with what it looks like this. If I've got 1/4 and 2/4, my denominator does not change. It will remain the same. We do not add 4 and 4. The denominator remains the same. So in this case right here, I've got 2 plus 1. That gives me 3/4. Very simple, not a whole lot with that at all. Just know that you do not add the denominator. It stays the same. Now this is when we go back and start using what we had in a previous lesson about reducing fractions and changing mixed numbers and such as that. So let's look at this one. If I got 2/3 plus 2/3, again remember, denominator stays the same. So if I add my numerators, 2 plus 2 will give me 4, and that will give me the answer of 4/3. But remember back to that other lesson where we said this is an improper fraction. If I want it in simplest terms, we cannot leave it as an improper fraction. So I must go back and change this one, and I'm going to divide denominator into numerator. We know that will go one time, subtract it down. Now keep up, remember, my remainder right here goes up top. My divisor, this number on the outside, my divisor of 3 goes underneath as my denominator. So my answer, which was 4/3 the improper fraction, now becomes 1 1/3. Okay, let's look at a different one. Let's look at 3/8 plus 3/8. If I do that, once again, denominator remains the same. It's 8. 3 plus 3, my numerator will become 6. Now looking at this is what you have to be able to recognize and pick up at this point. 6/8, both of these numbers are even. That tells you that this fraction is not in simplest form. We must put it in simplest form. If we go back and do our factors like we did before, I know that my factors of these two numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 6, 1, 2, 4, and 8. My greatest common factor is 2. So now I'm going to take this fraction of 6/8, divide it by 2/2, and I'll come up with an answer of 3/4. That is my reduced fraction answer in its very simplest form. And when you get instructions on a test or assessment, CRCT, whatever, that's the way you're always going to want to leave your answer. Let's look at another one. Now this one's going to come out being a little bit different still. 6 is my denominator, does not change. Leave that just like it is. 5 plus 5, that gives me 10. Now, I've got an improper fraction that needs to be changed to a mixed number and also reduced. So if I've got 10/6, I can do this two ways. I can divide and change it to a mixed number, or I can go ahead and reduce it now. And we can recognize at this point that my GCF of 10 and 6 will be 2. So if I divide both top and bottom by 2, I will have 5/3. Now, again, still an improper fraction, so I must divide 3 into 5. And that will go one time. 2 left over, my remainder is 2. That goes up top, my divisor of 3 goes underneath it. My answer is 1 2/3. 1 2/3. Alright, your turn. Write this one down on your paper, pause your video, work this one out, and then come back and check your answer. Alright, if I've got my denominator, 8 in both places, that does not change. 7 plus 7 is 14. Your first point answer should be 14 over 8. Once again, improper and needs to be reduced as well. So let's go back up here. 14 over 8. In my GCF, that's going to be 2. So if I divide this by 2 over 2, I will get 7 over 4. That's your first step. Once again, improper, cannot leave it this way. So now I want to divide 4 into 7. That will go one time. I've got 3 left over. Remember, your remainder goes up top as your numerator. Divisor of 4 goes underneath as the denominator. And your simplest form answer of 7/8 plus 7/8 will be 1 3/4. Now, if you end up with this answer right here, you're in excellent shape. Now, let's look at one more of those before we stop off on addition for today. Write this one down, work it out, come back and check your answer in just a minute. All right, my denominator is 8 once again, does not change. 5 plus 5 gives me 10 over 8. I've got an improper fraction as well as even numbers, so that has to be changed. Go back up here, let's look. I can divide both top and bottom by 2. That will give me 5 over 4. 5 over 4, as we recognize, is an improper fraction. I must divide the denominator in the numerator. Goes one time, 1 left over. My answer is 1 1/4 for this right here. Again, if you came up with that answer, then you should be in pretty good shape. We'll continue working on some of these as we go along. Next time we'll pick up subtracting fractions. Then after that we'll do a section on adding with unlike denominators. Good luck and keep working hard.